Again, usually we start off the podcast, like I said, jovial mood. Everything's a good mood, but we just wanted to take a second when we kick off this episode of Pigskin Frenzy here to talk about what happened over the weekend. Andre Seldon Jr. defensive back for formerly for New Mexico State. He transferred and entered the portal. He went to Utah State. He was set to be the starting defensive back in the secondary for the Utah State Aggies this coming up season. He transferred there. Anyway, Andre Seldon Jr. Had tragically passed away over the weekend in an apparent cliff diving accident. And we just wanted to take a second to say that our thoughts and prayers are with his family, friends, and the whole Utah State community. Not too long ago, we did an episode on Utah State, and now we are going to dedicate this episode to Andre Seldon and his family, friends, and everybody at Utah State. So this episode is dedicated to them. We are sending our prayers and our thoughts, and we are with them, and the Lord hope the Lord will bless them, and we pray with them, and we know that God has their family. So Andre Seldon apparently, or an apparent cliff diving accident, has tragically passed away. Our thoughts and prayers once again are with them. Welcome to Pigskin Frenzy on this beautiful Tuesday afternoon. Thank you for joining us. I'm Joel Norris, and whether you're watching on YouTube, listening on Spotify, listening on Podbean or Apple, a big thank you for taking some time out of your Tuesday to just sit back, watch, and listen to some college football coverage presented by me. Now, if you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, like each episode, leave comments down below. Spotify, Podbean, and Apple, all you have to do is just share around with others and follow on there as well. X, Instagram, and Facebook, just type in Pigskin Frenzy. Follow out the pages there. You're going to get episode updates. You're going to get news and highlights from across college and NFL football. You're going to get trivia questions on Instagram stories. Go and answer today's college football question, as well as all things up to date for Pigskin Frenzy. Guys, check out the website, www.pigskinfrenzy.weebly.com. There, you will find all things up to date about Pigskin Frenzy. You'll find a Home and About Me page to learn more about me. You can contact me there. Go down and scroll down to that page. Use your contact info, email, your name, and you can type in your question, and I'll answer that question. Guys, our platforms page, all the platforms I just mentioned, you can go and click on all those platforms and click on which ones is your favorite and easiest listening style to listen to this program on, as well as our affiliations page, which brings us to the Beard Club. Guys, if you want an excellent shave, and I mean an excellent shave, I know that I just shaved. Everything is, everything's good on my end. I mean, it's, there's no beard there. I shaved. But when I do have my beard and I do have my facial hair, and I probably plan on growing my beard throughout the winter when it's cold up here, the Beard Club gives you your best options to make your beard and grooming needs be met. That's right. Significant others of your male counterpart and male counterparts listening to this podcast, listen up, because the Beard Club has it. Beard grooming kits are epic. You got combs, beard oil, beard balm, beard and face wash, boar bristle brushes, razors, and more in a beard grooming kit. You can also get body wash, 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner, loofahs, and more from the Beard Club. Just go to the Beard Club. It is what it is what satisfies you, and it can satisfy you. The Beard Club. Go to my website, www.pigskinfrenzy.weebly.com. There you will find the affiliations page. Click on the affiliations page. If you click on that page, you'll see the Beard Club logo. Click on that logo and you will go to the website. Go to my link tree. My link tree is on X, on my X bio, on my Instagram bio, on my Facebook bio, and at the description of this video right now for this YouTube video. At the description, click on my link tree. You'll go to my link tree. You'll see the Beard Club link. You will click the link, and it will take you to the website. The code, there's a code. It's a customer appreciation sale going on right now. 25% off. Just type in the code LOYALTY. You type in that code, and you will get 25% off through us, through the Beard Club and through the website, everything. 25% off code through the Beard Club with their customer appreciation sale. 25% off with the code LOYALTY. Thank you so much for being our proud partners at the Beard Club, and enjoy their products. And we will get to our other announcement at the conclusion of our episode. college football episode day today. We're excited. I mean, I'm really excited. We're continuing with our recaps of media days. We went over the Big 12 last week, talked about all 16 teams. We're going to talk about all 16 teams here, but for this one, it's the SEC. That's right, the SEC media days. They had their kickoff last week. We're discussing it now, and we're going to dive deep into all 16 teams. And there were a lot of things that were talked about. A lot of things were questions. A lot of questions that hopefully we can get some answers to, but we're really not going to get any of these answers. And this is the thing about talking season, the thing about media days. We're not going to get any of these answers until the ball is hiked on the field. And that's what I love about this. But the talking season is fun because you start shattering a little bit and start chirping a little bit, and everything starts going pretty good. So I'm excited. I'm ready to rock and roll. As you can tell, I'm ready to go. We're about 5 weeks out from week 1. Technically, 4 weeks out from college football, but 5 weeks out until everybody is playing a down of football. 5 weeks until college football is back on our TV screens and the 2024 season kicks off. I'm excited. Everyone else is as well. It has gone by super fast since Michigan has won the national championship. I'm just going to let you guys know now, it has gone by super, super fast. And I'm excited, ready to rock and roll. A lot of things were mentioned, and we're going to talk about it. One particular thing that Eli Drinkwitz said at the media days when he was up on the podium, and we're going to talk about that at the end of the episode because I quite agree with what he said, and we're going to discuss it, and we're going to rock and roll with it here on Pigskin Frenzy. Keep plugging into the show, guys. Thank you guys for the support. 3,500 listeners and counting right now. About to hit that 3,600 mark. Getting more and more listeners and getting more downloads every single time we do Pigskin Frenzy, going up and up and up. There's only one way to go, ladies and gentlemen. That is up to the top. So thank you again for being a proud partner of Pigskin Frenzy and being just not just partner, but just audience and listening in to the show and just, being supportive of this podcast and let me talk about football, here with you guys, and guys can just interact with me as well. So let's just talk about up first. Let's discuss teams, and let's discuss Alabama. Let's go in order. Let's go a little bit of an order. Let's talk about Alabama first. This is the first season, and this is a big headline. First media days where Nick Saban was not the Alabama head coach. He was retired and had to get credentials to be there. He had to get media credentials to be there and to talk in media days. And Kalen DeBoer was the man up on the podium. DeBoer taking over for Alabama. A lot of questions that we were asking ourselves. How was he going to do? What's the transition been like? The culture, the dynamic. How is everything going to be now that Saban's gone? And how is everything going to be when, he's taken over for Alabama? That's a lot of the main questions we were asking ourselves. What's the 4-2-5 defense going to look like under Kane Wambach? What's it going to look like, bringing in your brand of offense, your Washington style of offensive play like you had last season into Alabama? More finesse. What's it going to look like? Those are a few questions that we were asking. We were just thinking about and talking to ourselves about with Kalen DeBoer, and we honestly he answered pretty much a lot of them and hit the nail on the head on a lot. He knows it's a transition and it's a challenge to keep Alabama going and keep the name of Alabama going and keep that motivation of being a powerhouse in the conference and being a powerhouse in college football. He knows it's it's one of those big responsibility and a big task to try to live up to what Nick Saban has already built there. He's already answered those questions. He looked confident. He looked ready to go this season. Surprisingly, and on the confidence note, to me, was one of the only guys, in my opinion, that wasn't overly confident. He was confident, but not overly confident. I feel like I got a lot of overconfidence from a lot of teams, not in the Big 12, but from the SEC as well. A lot of overconfidence happening here. So with Kalen DeBoer, he looked relaxed. He looked serious. He looked confident, but not too overconfident. He looked like he was ready to play some football and ready to prove that Alabama is still a legit contender in college football since he's now the head coach there. They've been recruiting at a high level. We've been asking asking about how recruiting is going. He says that recruiting is going well, and he knows that recruiting is going well. They're picking up a bunch of 5-stars, including 5-star wide receiver prospect Caleb Cunningham, out of northern Mississippi. So Alabama is rocking and rolling. Kalen DeBoer is ready to rock and roll, and he's excited to take over for a legendary head coach in Nick Saban. And that was just pretty much our recap of media days for Alabama and what to expect from them. I really liked how he was serious, but he wasn't overconfident, and that's what I really, really liked about Kalen DeBoer and what he presented at media days. Moving on from Alabama to now Arkansas. Let's talk about their recap and their media day recap, and let's talk about Arkansas for a second. Sam Pittman entering the hot seat, and it's not surprising. The season he had last season was one of those things where you look at and you're like, ooh, you go, oof. And you're curious. You're wondering, he was in his 4th year. He went 4-8 last year in the final year of the division. He was near dead last in the SEC West division. It was one of those things where you look at and you're like, oh, what's going to happen, here? So their offense wasn't running well now that Kendall Briles had left. Dan Enos, who was the former OC there, got fired. They brought back Bobby Petrino coming into this season. Former Arkansas head coach is now the OC of Arkansas. Sam Pittman's still the head coach. Rumblings about his demise, demise leaving Arkansas last season. Well, the rumors of his demise were gradually mistaken, and then they were gone. Sam Pittman's back for his 5th year coming up as the Arkansas Razorbacks head football coach, and they were 4-8 last year. What are they going to do? Or is he entering the hot seat again? And I would say he's one of the head coaches in this league entering the hot seat. I'm not gonna lie. I think he's got a little bit to prove. Traylon Knight is their new quarterback. He was in at Boise State last season, entered the portal, and they picked him up from Boise State. He's very dynamic on the ground. Accuracy in the air is a big question, and they kind of touched on that at media days. We're going to get to that in a little bit. KJ Jefferson entered the portal, went to UCF, and we kind of, touched base on that as well. So Arkansas, Bobby Petrino, OC, Travis Williams, Marcus Woodson back as co-defensive coordinators for the team. Bobby Petrino back as the OC, back in Arkansas, but this time as the OC and runner of the offense. So what's going to happen? That's what we're going to ask ourselves. What's going to happen? Big question is, how's it looking? How's everything going with the program and what's going on with Arkansas in general? Well, if you ask Sam Pittman, it could be. If you ask Sam Pittman, it's our time. He says, and he is ready. He's confident. He's fired up. He wants that jukebox turned up. He's thinking that Arkansas is going to be back to winning ways this season. He is very confident. And that's what you're supposed to say when you're in SEC media days. Sam Pittman's excited about the defense. He's excited about how elevated the defensive spots are going to be. He's excited about how the base look of the multiple 4-2-5 base look is going to look this season, and how it's going to take shape when they enter SEC play going into this year. Another big question that was asked was about the offense and how Traylon Knight's development was. And let me go on and say this. If you as I'm looking at my notes here, my apologies. If you look at, Talon Green. I was saying Talon Knight. Talon Green. If you asked about Talon Green's development from Boise State, compared to what he was doing at Boise State to Arkansas, it could be a transition, especially through the air. Bobby Petrino, they're asking about him and Talon Green working together to, in schemes and how to fit him into more comfortable throwing situations. And Sam Pittman, since he's confident in Talon Green, he's confident in all the quarterbacks as well. Austin Ledbetter is there. You also got KJ Jackson and Blake Boda as the quarterbacks behind Talon Green. Ledbetter most likely will be, he was a former soccer player. He's back. He's 29 years old from St. Louis, and now he's back at Arkansas. As back in college at Arkansas as a quarterback. So Ledbetter and Green are probably going to be the quarterbacks. Green will most likely start, and Green's got the dynamic running ability, but his throwing ability is questionable. We got to see what's going to happen there. We got to see what's going to go on with we got to go see what's going to happen with his. The main thing that they're worried about with Taylor Green, and I'm worried about with Taylor Green when you look at him, is his ability to throw deep, and not only that, to improvise under pressure. That's one thing that they're worried about. But when he's running the football, he's dynamic, and he's one of the best in the country. Not really in the country, but in the SEC for sure. So Taylor Green, how is he going to get adjusted? Sam Pittman's confident in that. He's confident in his work ethic and to lead this offense into this season. So that's Arkansas for us, and that was the Arkansas recap, really. But my final thoughts on Arkansas as we enter the season is that they got a tough one. I mean, it's going to be different. It's going to be different, than it was. Different offense, different offensive look, different quarterback. Taylor Green there from Boise State, but defense is going to look maybe a little bit more, veteranized a little bit. But for Arkansas, when you look at how they are, Sam Pittman on the hot seat is the biggest storyline coming out of this and coming out of media days, only because of what happened the past couple of seasons. If you look at everything. And look at 2023 and how 2023 was. They went 4-8. 2022, they were 7-6. In 2021, they had a great year, 9-4. If you look at 2020 in his first season, they were 3-7, but they looked really, really good in 2021. They looked good and surprised a lot of people in 2021. 2020 wasn't good. 2021 was great, a lot better. 2022 dipped. 2023 ended up being terrible. They're worried about the dip in performance, and I think that's what a lot of the thing is and problem is with Sam Pittman going on in this season. That's what they're worried about entering this season. So that's Arkansas's recap and going through SEC media day. So Auburn, let's talk about Auburn's SEC recap. This is our third team. We got a few more to go here before we conclude today's episode of Pigskin Frenzy. Auburn's excited. Hugh Freeze is excited about entering his second season. He is the play caller now, and they're worried about the main question is the quarterback situation. What's going to happen with Peyton Thorne? Peyton Thorne's going to be the starting quarterback as far as we know for this team. He's excited about how he developed in the red zone a lot, but overall as a thrower, can he develop into that dynamic playmaker that he needs him to be in a Hugh Freeze offense? It's a big question that remains to be seen. The running game with Jarquez Hunter, they get some veteran help back, especially with Hunter back as a running back. They get some veteran help on the lines in the physical area. They get some help on defense back as well. Auburn's got some players coming back for this team that are some some talent on their team. Everybody asked Hugh Freeze about this. Hugh Freeze is excited. He says he's confident and he's excited about playing some physical football. And he thinks that this team can compete with a lot of other teams in the SEC, especially in the physical department especially in the trenches in the physical department, in the physical area. So, you keep Alabama and, you know what I mean? You keep Alabama, you keep the Georgia rivalries. A lot of the rivalries that we were used to seeing are being kept. And we see a lot of this coming in this season. So he's got some tough teams on his schedule. The only question that, we have out of this was how is the offense going to look? How is everything going to look now that, Peyton Thorne's got a year under his belt. He's got a whole offseason under his belt. Is everything going to change with Peyton Thorne? We don't know. And in the spring game, it looked a lot of the same besides the red zone aspect of it. But overall, it looked a lot of the same as it did last season. So let's see what happens with Auburn. I'm curious about what's going to happen with Auburn. That was their media day recap, and we're curious to see what Hugh Freeze has got to say, and curious to see what Auburn's going to do going into this season. Florida is another one. Florida is our next one, big one there. Billy Napier entering his third season, another one that is possibly on the hot seat. They got the hardest schedule all in the SEC. To me, there's no doubt about it. They got the hardest schedule in the conference, and you're going to think, Joel, give the guy some grace. And a lot of reporters, a lot of spectators, and a lot of analysts, and they're going to say the same thing about Florida. Give them some grace. They got a lot of hard teams coming their way to play. Yeah, you got Georgia, you got LSU after that, you got Texas after that, then you got to play Ole Miss, then you got to play Florida State. That's back to back to back to back to back. I mean, that's tough. That is tough. And you got Miami and A&M on that list as well. You got to play Tennessee as well. They got a hard schedule, man. I'm not gonna lie. But the thing is on this is they barely made it to a bowl game their first year. They should have at least improved in a lot of ways last year, but they didn't make the bowl game last year. And they did improve when it came to toughness in games. They played a lot of teams close last season, but they failed to reach that victory, and they failed to finish strong. They have a problem with finishing football games, and that's a big one heading into this season. They have one of the most underrated quarterbacks in the conference in Graham Mertz, Wisconsin transfer, back at it in his second and final season as Florida quarterback. Before DJ Lagway kicks everything off with Florida next season. They recruited DJ Lagway. They were going to build around him in the recruiting. They did not, they did not recruit how Florida was supposed to recruit, at least going into this season. A lot of questions were asked about that and about how they feel heading into this season and about the schedule and the gauntlet they got to face. Billy Napier is excited. He said at the podium he's excited about the challenge. He's ready to take on all comers in the conference. He knows it's going to be a tough road ahead, but with perseverance and with strength ahead, he believes that this offense, this defense, and all around is going to adjust and going to fight and could be a problem for a lot of teams entering this season. So there's a lot of questions that were being answered there with Florida here. And my thoughts on let me recap this really quick for Florida. My thoughts on this is it's tough. It's a tough task. It's a tough task. I mean, I just mentioned Miami, who is very well in the mix to win the ACC championship. Mike Elko at A&M, who we'll get to in a minute, who have a lot of talent on their team, and they're rebuilding. You got to play Tennessee, who Josh Heupel is starting to bring back that Hendon Hooker-style offense under who could be a breakout quarterback next year or this coming up season, and Nico Amaliava. You have Georgia, who are the latest back-to-back national champions. Don't need to go any further there. You have Texas, another powerhouse in the playoffs last season. Don't go any further there. LSU, who has beaten you for the past 5 years. Don't need to go any further. Ole Miss has got a very dynamic offense who's brought a lot of people back from their 11-win season last year. Record-setting for school program history, 11-win season. Again, don't need to go any further from there. And then you got Florida State, who's bringing in a lot of guys, a lot of new guys in, but also some guys in, from last year's team who competed, who they can probably compete with at the end of the year. But a lot of toughness there, a lot of tough teams that they got to play on that schedule. It's going to be tough. It really is. It's going to be tough. Do I think he's on the hot seat? I think so, but it's kind of hard to tell because I can also see them giving Billy Napier grace because of that tough schedule. Now, next year, if he has the same season he's had the past couple of seasons next year or even this season combined with next season, then there's probably going to be a chance that he's let go. That's just my opinion. That's just my thoughts. I'm not saying it's gospel or anything. Don't take anything I say as gospel, but I'm just telling you my honest thoughts on everything. Right now, he's on the hot seat entering this season. That's just my thoughts on it. I think it's going to be a tough road ahead for the Gators. So that's my recap for Florida and going into this coming up season. A few more teams. We're at Georgia. Georgia, there's nothing really to talk about, but really They're entering preseason favorites, number one on my list as well, to win the SEC championship, enter the playoffs. The only question that we really had was the offseason woes and the offseason legal troubles with the team and how he's handling everything. Kirby Smart said, and I quote, "We're not going to let it affect how we play on the field. We're going to stick to one thing and one thing only, and that's playing the game of football." And I really admire what he said there, and I really admire what he said about that on media days. With all the legal troubles going on now. Big thing about Georgia and what I got from their media days is they're trying to block out the noise from all of that. They're trying to enter this season confident and enter this season as the best, as they should. I mean, Carson Beck back in the fold at quarterback. They got Trevor Etienne from Florida at running back. They got a lot of guys, Oscar Delp, who's taking over for Brock Bowers. You got a lot of guys and pieces on this team that can do some damage to a lot of opponents on their schedule, and probably all their opponents on their schedule. So when you look at everything and look at Georgia, it's going to be it could be a fun season, but they got to block out the noise with a lot of their offseason woes and their offseason troubles that's happening off the field. So that's really my recap of Georgia. Not really anything, too much, but they're ready and they're confident to head out and try to win another national title. We're probably going to talk about Georgia a lot more heading into this season. So that's Georgia's recap of media days. Let's talk about Kentucky. Mark Stoops is ready to go. Kentucky, he is confident in his team. He's the only questions we have are how is Brock Vandagriff handling the transition as a quarterback, and he's entering. He's in the portal. How is he handling everything? Mark Stoops is confident in the offense. He's confident in Vandagriff, and he's confident at everything. They asked him about the debacle with Texas A&M. He says that he wants to be in Kentucky, and there's no place that he would rather be right now than in Lexington, Kentucky, currently, and Kroger Field with the Wildcats. So the defense is looking a little bit more good. Their mission is to stay healthy and a lot healthier than they did last year. And that's a really good thing to have, especially with Kentucky. Kentucky dealt with a lot of injuries last season in a lot of key areas. I think that's the big thing right there is Kentucky's conditioning, Kentucky's health, and I think that's the main answers that we really got from Mark Stoops on how are they going to look health-wise, and that's the big key there entering this season here on SEC, in the SEC, especially in media days when they asked him. So that really just about does it for Kentucky, and that's their recap for SEC Media Days. My thoughts on it are mainly just we're looking forward to Kentucky staying healthy and looking forward to seeing what Brock Vandagriff does, controlling and commanding that offense. I'm really serious and excited to see what happens with Vandagriff as he takes over in Lexington. So that's Kentucky's recap. Let's talk about LSU. Brian Kelly entering his third year, back-to-back 10-win seasons, SEC West champion, still trending in the right direction for Brian Kelly and LSU winning games in general. But they cannot make it to the big one. They can't make it to the playoffs for some reason. They just cannot do it. They lose 2 to 3 games, and they're very key games. Big things here. They lose Jaden Daniels, they lose Malik Neighbors, and they lose Brian Thomas, a 3-headed dragon on offense. They potentially gain another 3-headed dragon on offense with could be maybe Garrett Nussmeier, CJ Daniels, Liberty transfer coming in, and Xavier Thomas coming in from Mississippi State. He'll probably most likely return punts and kickoffs as well. You got that. You got Mason Taylor at tight end still, the junior tight end, and you got probably one of the best offensive lines in America, in the country, and not only that, and especially in the SEC. Got the best O-line in the SEC, as well as 2 of the best O-linemen in the country with Will Campbell and Emory Jones. So when you look at those 2 guys and you look at the offense, Brian Kelly is a little bit confident. He says, we're going to score. Not going to say it because it's explicit, but let me just put it this way: a crap load of touchdowns. And he's confident in his offense being just as good as it was last year. Under Joe Sloan and Cortez Hankton, the co-offensive coordinators after Mike Denbrock left for Notre Dame. When you look at everything with LSU, the big question was, Defense, defense, defense. Whole defensive staff gone, including Matt House. Enter new defensive staff. You know, you got excuse me, you got Bo Davis, you got from the defensive line coach from Texas entering, going back to LSU as their defensive line coach. You got Blake Baker, former linebackers coach during the 2019 season, now as the defensive coordinator from LSU, formerly at Missouri last season. How is Blake Baker going to look? You got Corey Raymond back as the secondaries coach. You got a lot of serious pieces on defense now who are very serious and tough coaches who are ready to, preach defense, especially at LSU. Former guys who were at LSU before and know what it takes to be tough and play tough defense at LSU. The big question was, how is the defense going to look? That's the biggest question for LSU. LSU's defense is the key to success this season. If LSU's defense cannot hold up, we're going to have a repeat of last season. Solid offense, great, fantastic, great, even great offense, but not going to amount to much if their defense can't hold anyone. They were the worst defense in college football. Them and USC were the two worst defenses in college football. And it's not my opinion, it's fact. It's stats. Their stats. They were the worst last season, but they got stars on this team. They got Harold Perkins Jr., who could be the best linebacker in the SEC and in college football. If he plays like he did his freshman year, as a junior, he will be elite, amongst the elite in college football. You got Ashton Stamps in the secondary. The defensive line, you got Savion Jones there. You got Jeroy Guillory. You got Guillory on the line. And you got some good things on the line, but you also have to get depth on the line. Depth is a big thing with LSU, especially on the defensive line. Brian Kelly answered those questions. He admitted to failure on the defense, and he admitted to trying to improve everything and to get better as the games and as the weeks go on. And they're going to be a team to look out for and fear, according to Brian Kelly. I do not doubt that in my mind. I think LSU is going to be a team that you've got to watch out for when you play them. Absolutely. But is the defense going to hold up? That's the big question as we enter this season. As we conclude LSU and go into more the rest of the teams, are they going to be a team to watch out for? That's a big question. Or are they going to be a team to watch out for? Are they going to be a defensive team to watch out for? That's a big question as we enter the 2024 season. That's a big question. How's the defense going to look? I'm a little concerned, but I'm also curious to see how it's going to look. That's LSU's recap. That's my recap of LSU's SEC Media Days. Let's move on to a few more. We'll get through them quickly. Mississippi State. How is Jeff Lebby going to look in his first year as a football head coach, but at Mississippi State? How's the offense going to look? How's Blake Shapen going to look as a starting quarterback? How's everything going to look? And how's the offense going to be in command and ready to rock and roll going into this season? He has to expect a little bit of more of a balanced attack. Throw the ball a little bit more than we did, but also we're going to have a good, nice balance of running the ball as well. State doesn't get to play Alabama or LSU in this season. That's pretty good. The key thing is, what does it feel like after being at Ole Miss, being the head coach, coaching up against your former head man that you worked under in Lane Kiffin? What's the rivalry going to look like there? Jeff Lebby's excited to travel to Oxford this season and to coach an Egg Bowl. He's excited about the rivalry. He's excited about the pageantry of it, and he's ready to try to eclipse Ole Miss as the number one Mississippi school, not only in the SEC but in the state of Mississippi. So Jeff Lebby's excited. They asked him about that. My recap of it, my thoughts about everything is there's a lot of pieces there that need to be worked on and improved because it's a rebuilding season, obviously. But Jeff Lebby is a guy that you don't need to underestimate, and I would not underestimate him as well at State. I wouldn't be surprised if they won games that you didn't expect them to win. That's just my take on it. Entering this season, I wouldn't be surprised if State won games that you really did not expect them to actually win. Florida could be one of those games as well. So that's my thoughts on Mississippi State. That's my thoughts and recap on them. I don't have a huge analysis on them, but I'm excited to see and curious to see how Jeff Lebby is going to transition and kind of change the trajectory in Stark Vegas and in Starkville, Mississippi. So that's Mississippi State's recap of my recap of them, of their media days. A few more. Let's talk about Missouri, man. Missouri. Eli Drinkwitz was excited, and before we talk about it, I'm going to talk about what he campaigned for at the end of my recap of media days, and because it's a very thing that it's a subject that I would like to talk about for sure. Missouri. Eli Drinkwitz is excited about returning majority of their production. We asked about losing Cody Schrader and the replacements that he's got. And they asked a lot about how's everything going to look, bringing and trying to keep up that momentum from the Cotton Bowl last year and bringing it into this season. He's excited. He's got the drive to do this. He's excited about working hard and being one of the workhorses in the new SEC and being a workhorse when it comes to a lot of the talent that they got this season. True grit, determination, and they're ready and they're confident that they can lay it all out there for Mizzou and lay it all out there in the SEC. My thoughts on everything for Missouri is they got two solid running backs from the portal. Marcus Carroll from Georgia State and Marcus Carroll from I think as far as I know it was from Georgia State. They got Nate Noel from App State. Carroll and Noel are in the Sun Belt, two of the best probably Sun Belt running backs that we have seen, last season. And I think that they're going to help out Brady Cook a lot in the backfield rotating. So running backs, no problem there. You got the 1-2 punch with Brady Cook and Luther Burden. It's going to be a really exciting offense to look at. They got some veteran guys on the defense as well. He's excited about how physical they're going to be, and I'm excited and curious about how physical they're going to be as well. Missouri, they were in the top 5 of my conference standing projections for a reason. They are also, as far as I know, in the preseason media poll. That preseason media poll is very similar to what we had in our conference standing projections, besides a few teams being elsewhere. So very similar to what we had. And Missouri is going to be one of those teams that you got to watch out for. And I would be concerned a little bit, not really concerned, but don't underestimate them if you have them on your schedule. So that's Missouri's recap. We're going to talk about what Drinkwitz talked about to open up his podium at the end of the episode. Let's talk about a few more. There's a lot here. Oklahoma. Brent Venables said, as he transitions, he says, yes, we've asked him about, people have asked him about, him being in the SEC and trying to get used to everything. He's played against SEC style of play, but he hasn't played it enough to the point where he's in the conference. How's he going to look defensively, offensively? How is Jackson Arnold's development as well? A lot of guys were asking him about that. He says he's excited about the development of Jackson Arnold. He's excited about how the defense is going to look, the returning production and the veterans they got on this defense and on this team. They're really excited about how they're going to fare and transition into the SEC this season, especially up front and physically on the D-line and the O-line. Those on both sides of the football there. So he says that they are going to, we're not running from the SEC. They're running towards the SEC, not from, but towards the SEC. So they are excited about the challenge, and Brent Venables embraces it, and he is not scared to be in this conference. And my thoughts on that is we need a coach like Brent Venables in this conference for that exact reason. He's not afraid of the challenge. He's a guy that wants to be tough and wants his team to be tough and physical and ready to run that gauntlet every season. He's excited. He's encouraging football coach, and he's a coach that wants to win big-time games and possibly win championships in this conference and overall. So we're excited about Oklahoma being in the conference. It's very interesting to see what's going to happen, especially in the development of Jackson Arnold. Curious to see what's going to happen on defense with them and how their defense is going to look, especially when they're playing a lot of teams like Alabama and LSU and Ole Miss this season, who have high style of offenses in this conference. So that's Oklahoma's my recap of Oklahoma in this, SEC Media Days. Moving on, we got 6 more teams to talk about. Then we will conclude and be done with it. But Ole Miss is one of them. Lane Kiffin hit to the point of transfer portal in this one and talked about the use of the portal, as he called it, free agency, which you shouldn't really be afraid to say that, because it kind of is free agency in a way. So talking about that, he hit on the point of getting a lot of guys from the portal and loading up his roster and keeping a lot of the guys that he had on his Peach Bowl winning season last year on his team this season. So his team's loaded. He was talking about how physical they can get, because they got a Georgia rematch coming up in November, just like last season. He remembers that game quite well. He wants to get physical on both sides of the ball, both lines of the ball, and that's what he was focusing on as well. They asked him about those questions and about how physical they can get. And he says that you got to be physical to play in this league. He says we are improving on that. They are improving a lot on being ready physically, being ready, and being ready in depth wise as well. You got to have the depth as well. And he thinks that they are getting close to having that entering this season. He paid tribute to his late father, Monty Kiffin, who unfortunately passed away earlier this month, and he was talking about his father and how he has impacted him as a football coach in general. And Lane Kiffin, really good tribute to his dad as well, and really hit some really good points home for Ole Miss. Ole Miss is a team that you got to watch out for on offense. Defensively, they are starting to build up even more. We're just going to have to see what happens, because like I said before, they are a team that if you hype them up after coming off of a great winning season that no one saw coming, they end up going 7 games and winning 8 games, and they should have won 11 to 12 games. So let's see what happens. Let's see what happens with Ole Miss, and let's see what goes down with them. And that was my recap of Ole Miss entering the 2024 SEC season. Let's talk about South Carolina. Shane Beamer excited and confident in this, in this team and in everything. And just excited about, especially his offense and how everything is improving there. Defensive side of the ball, they got some improvement to do there, but offensive side of the ball, they got Lenoris Sellers, who's most likely going to be the starting quarterback there, with Raheem Rocket Sanders coming in as a transfer running back from Arkansas. He's excited about the ground game there with Juju McDowell as well. He's excited about how, the running game's going to look, and the offensive firepower they're getting on offense. He's excited about, everything, and he's even said it. He said that he is confident that they're going to score some points, and confident that they're going to be a team that a lot of teams are going to not, try to look, they're going to try to, look out for. You're going to have to look out for South Carolina. And my thoughts and recaps on everything with South Carolina is, he said it best. Shane Beamer said it best, that they're going to be could be an underrated team, maybe, that you have to look out for, but it's also one of those things that you look at is the defense is concerning a little bit in a lot of areas, but they got some talent on that team. So let's not take lightly a Shane Beamer as we, get closer to the season. Let's look out for them, and let's talk about, don't underestimate them in game, especially at home, but especially in certain game situations as well. So South Carolina, that's my thoughts on them and my recap on them as well. Let's talk about Vanderbilt really quick. Vanderbilt is excited about, that Clark Lee entering his, as far as I know, Clark Lee, on my notes, pull up my notes. Clark Lee entering his 4th season as head coach. Tim Beck entering his 1st season as offensive coordinator, offensive analyst for TCU last season. Tim Beck is ready to bring a certain brand and style of offense with Diego Piavia as their new quarterback. And it's going to be one of those things where you got to look up. You can be like, okay, you lost a lot for Vanderbilt, and it's going to be one of those. It's going to be hard for Vanderbilt this season, but you got to look at it on the bright side for Vanderbilt. You got a lot of talent still there, but to replace a lot of the talent that you lost to the portal. But you gain a starting quarterback in Diego that knows the system well, like that Tim Beck preaches, and knows what he can do. To secondary and to opponents when you play them. So my thoughts on Vanderbilt is you got to buckle up, you got to prepare, because the gauntlet is definitely going to come, and it could come harder. Especially with now 16 teams in the SEC. So those are my thoughts on Vanderbilt, and that's my a little bit of a smaller recap for Vandy entering this season. So 3 more teams. Let's talk about Tennessee really quick. Josh Heupel, Nico Amaliavia as the quarterback. Josh Heupel has said, and they asked him about this, he's excited to bring out that 2022 of high octane offense again with Nico Amaliavia. He thinks he's going to be a breakout quarterback in this league. He's confident in him. He thinks he's going to be a solid, a solid starter for this team. You got Dylan Sampson at running back, who can be a true threat on the ground. And you got Squirrel White who can play the slot or the outside receiving positions quite well, as well for this offense. So he's excited about the offense and how they look. He's excited about how the defense is going to look as well. You lost a little bit on defense, but you gain some players back from the last season. He's excited about a lot of the veterans coming back for this team on defense as well. Linebacker is an area that you got to look out for Tennessee. They could have an underrated linebacker spot and an underrated linebacker room on defense as well. So look out for Tennessee, and they could be a team that could be a very, very good team and very competitive team in the conference this season. So that's Tennessee's. That's my thoughts on Tennessee and my recap of Tennessee going in to the 2024 season. 2 teams. Let's kick it off with Texas A&M before we end it with Texas. Texas A&M, Mike Elko, first year, former defensive coordinator for the Texas A&M Aggies under Jimbo Fisher, went to Duke, coached Duke really, really well. He's taken over a program where has a lot of talent already on this team. They're fully committed to Mike Elko. Elko's got the heart. He's got the drive to succeed. He's a good recruiter. He knows what it takes to recruit in the SEC. They're asking him about this season, and they're asking him about what made him come back to A&M. He says, 1, to win championships, obviously, and to to make A&M a household name and a powerhouse in this conference. And I love the drive and the motivation from Mike Elko. Solid coach, and he has the potential to be a solid coach with the talent that he's got and the roster that he's got on his team. Jaden Henderson from Fresno State quarterback going in on this team most likely will start for this team. Connor Wingman coming back for this team. Connor Wingman will most likely start. You got Henderson as the backup, but Connor Wingman coming back for this team as well, and he could be a solid player if healthy, and if he remains healthy. You lose Evan Stewart, but that is all right. You still got Muhammad there. You still got a lot of guys at tight end, a lot of guys on the defensive line as well. You got Shamar Turner coming back on the defensive line for A&M. You lose Walter Nolan, but that's okay. Like I said, Shamar Turner fits that bill for the Texas A&M Aggies. A solid line, a solid O-line, a solid team that you're going to have to compete against, compete against in this league. So A&M, that's my thoughts on A&M. Watch out for them going into this season. A lot of games that they could win and surprise on this season. So that's my thoughts on Texas A&M as they enter the 2024 season. Last but not least, before we conclude our recap of SEC Media Days, it's Texas. C. Sarkisian knows the SEC quite well. Former offensive coordinator for Alabama under Nick Saban. He is ready to rock and roll. He knows recruiting well in the SEC. He knows how to recruit, and he's already recruiting well in the SEC. He's excited about where the offense is going. He's returning majority of his production from last season's college football playoff team. You got Quinn Ewers back as a starting quarterback, entering potentially his final season as starting quarterback for Texas before Arch Manning takes the reins. Question was, would we see Arch Manning as well play for Quinn Ewers? And the answer was quite simple. It was yes. We could potentially see both quarterbacks play this season. He's excited to play a lot of these rivalry games, to renew a lot of these rivalry games, especially against Texas A&M and Arkansas. Arkansas hates Texas as more as Arkansas hates themselves, or as much as Arkansas loves themselves, is what Steve Sarkisian has said. And they're excited to, build up a lot of rivalry and build up a lot of memorable games in this conference. He's excited. He's confident that they can do some, be a household name in the conference and be a team that a lot of teams will have to fear for years to come in this conference. I'm very confident there. I'm curious to see what how the running game is going to go with C.J. Baxter. I'm curious to see about how Arch Manning and how you can squeeze him in a lot of game time situations as well this season. So those are my two big things that I'm looking forward to for the season, and that's kind of my recap of Texas for SEC Media Days as they enter the 2024 season. That is my recap of SEC Media Days for all 16 teams. And before we conclude and before we talk about it, let's hit home on a point that Missouri said, or Missouri head coach Eli Drinkwitz said the other day at Media Days, and let's talk about it. He kicked it off and said that he thinks it is kind of a thing that needs to be, that needs to be addressed, and it is the Hall of Fame candidacy of one late great Mike Leach, the Pirate, and he campaigned for it. He campaigned for Mike Leach to enter the Hall of Fame. Mike Leach has a 59% win percentage. You have to have 60 or above to get in. His overall coaching record was 158 with 158 wins with 107 losses. He's 8-9 bowl games. He had 11 win season in 2018 with the Washington State. Had 11 wins at Texas Tech. He created the air raid offenses which turned into what now a lot of people use nowadays is a modern type of spread offense. A lot of people run the spread now. If you don't know, a lot of people run the spread and RPOs and all that. A spread type offense is based from the air raid. A lot of people use the air raid, sprinklets of the air raid still. He is known for an offensive phenomenon, and he has changed the game quite literally offensively. And Mike Leach is a coach he's a great dude. Take the time out of everybody. Will give you the shirt off his back if need be. He says that he's just a person like everybody else. Mike Leach is an awesome dude. He tragically passed away, unfortunately, December of 2022, over a year and a half ago, due to heart issues in Jackson, Mississippi. So, I agree with Eli Drinkwitz, 100%. We're 52 minutes in, going a little bit overtime in this episode, but I wholeheartedly agree with with Eli Drinkwitz. I think Mike Leach is a Hall of Fame coach. I think it's a shame that they are not even they're not thinking about putting him in the Hall of Fame. With a 50, even though it's a 59% win percentage, he's 1% away from getting in. I think I would ignore that rule and put him into the Hall of Fame. He's done so much for the game, for college football. He's done so much for coaches. He's had a whole coaching tree like Nick Saban that includes Cliff Kingsbury and Lincoln Riley, to be exact. He's done a lot for this game, a lot for this sport. Done a lot for a lot of players and a lot of teams as the head coach of numerous teams, including Texas Tech, Mississippi State, and Washington State. So if you ask me, if I put a vote in, I would for sure veto and ignore that 1% and make an exception and put Mike Leach into the College Football Hall of Fame in Atlanta. That's my take. That's my thoughts. I'm campaigning for him now. I think that Mike Leach should go into the Hall of Fame. Very, very good start for Eli Drinkwitz from Missouri to take the podium first to address that, to kick off his media day. So that's the SEC Media Day recap. That's my thoughts on Mike Leach on how he should enter the Hall of Fame. Guys, we're out of time. I mean, we're really out of time for sure, but thank you for joining us here on this wonderful and beautiful afternoon and beautiful Tuesday afternoon, sitting down and taking some time out of your Tuesday and just sit back, watch and listen to some college football coverage presented by me. Now, if you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, like each episode, leave comments down below. Spotify, Podbean, and Apple. All you have to do is just sit around, share it around, and sit around, share it around, follow on there as well, guys. Instagram, Facebook, X. Just type in Pigskin Frenzy. Follow like the pages there. You're going to get episode updates. You're going to get news and highlights from across college and NFL football. You're going to get trivia questions on Instagram stories. Go and answer today's college football question, as well as all things up to date for Pigskin Frenzy. Guys, big thank you again. www.pigskinfrenzy.weebly.com. That's the website. Shout out to our partners at the Beard Club. Shout out to our partners there for our podcast. Check it out on Linktree as well, on my X bio, Instagram bio, and Facebook bio, as well as the description of this YouTube video as well. Before we go, we have our free giveaway coming up for college football. This year is college football. Last year was NFL. It's our second annual kick off the season giveaway, and this time it's college football. We're calling all SEC and speak of the devil on this, or speak of the dog on this one, Mississippi State fans, and we are doing a college football / SEC football giveaway here at Pigskin Frenzy. The giveaway includes a free large Mississippi State long sleeve black T-shirt, 2 Pigskin Frenzy stickers, and a shout out on August 20th episode of Pigskin Frenzy. The rules are simple. Follow Pigskin Frenzy on Facebook and Instagram. Just type in Pigskin Frenzy, hit the follow button, like the page. Number 2, share this post on your Facebook and Instagram story with a hashtag PF Podcast Giveaway, and tag us at Pigskin_Frenzy. Number 3, tag 2 friends in the comments below. The additional entries are subscribe to the Pigskin Frenzy YouTube channel, follow Pigskin Frenzy on Podbean, as well as follow Pigskin Frenzy on X at Pigskin_Frenzy, or just type in Pigskin Frenzy on the search engine on X. Entries stop August 18th, ladies and gentlemen. August 18th at 6 p.m. We will announce the winner on Instagram posts and Facebook posts, as well as Instagram stories on August 19th at 6 p.m. Central Time. Hashtag PF Podcast Giveaway. Don't forget to enter. You will get a shout out as well on the August 20th episode. So what are you waiting for? Enter the free giveaway right now. Check out the post on Facebook and Instagram for that giveaway. The post is already on there, announcing it right now. Free giveaway, college football giveaway from Pigskin Frenzy. Guys, big thank you again for taking some time out of your Tuesday. We'll be back Thursday for an NFL edition of Pigskin Frenzy. Contract updates with Brandon Ayuk, with Jordan Love, with Jamar Chase. We got 3 contract updates there, as well as training camp updates for NFL teams this season. So we're going to, kick it off with training camp updates as well as contract updates going around the league in the NFL this Thursday. Until Thursday, I'm Joel Norris signing off. We will see you then for an NFL edition of Pigskin Frenzy. See you Thursday. Have a great rest of your Tuesday afternoon. Guys, for everybody out there, please and always stay the course.